They're all performance-based. We're a high-performance environment, man. We don't pay people for time. We pay people for results. The more results they give, the more they make. So let's get to those 5 steps that are going to drastically increase the revenue of your business and possibly double it. Sometimes it does double it. But if you don't apply them, it's not going to do anything. And maybe you don't apply all 5 steps, and probably 2% of you will actually do these things. But if 2% of you do, it's worth my time. So let's talk about entrepreneurship a minute. So 1, you're willing to take a huge risk and you become an entrepreneur. Or 2, you're going to work for someone that's willing to take a huge risk and become an entrepreneur, which both can be very lucrative and you can make a lot of money at both. But being an entrepreneur is, I would say, it's the world's best self-development program. It can make you strong because it stretches you in all different kinds of ways. There's 582 million entrepreneurs in the world. 20% of those fail. Number one reason is the market doesn't want what you want or what you're giving or you're providing or selling. But there's multiple other reasons. And I have a lot of friends that are entrepreneurs and I see a lot of them struggling just like I was struggling. And most entrepreneurs they're focused on growing the company but not growing themselves. And if you don't grow yourself, you can't be a better company. The problem is your company will never exceed your identity or the vision of it. So this is why you have to be strong. You have to be a leader. You have to apply the things. So when you're an entrepreneur, everything's your fault. If you lose an employee, it's your fault. Maybe he didn't have the training he needed. Maybe you didn't give him the confidence he needed. There's so many reasons that it's your fault. So let's get to the number 1 step that can double your revenue if you apply it. That first step is referrals. And now pay attention to this because I'm focusing on referrals and how do you get referrals? You get referrals many ways, but the number 1 way is to get a raving customer. A raving customer can be the best thing for your business, but it also can be the worst thing for your business if he's raving bad stuff about your business. So think about that as far as when you create a raving customer, it's usually a customer that gets what they're not expecting. So think about businesses that you go in or maybe you brag about. And I had a talk with this to our team the other day because, I mean, even a record driver, money only comes to you one way, to your business one way, and that's from people. Whether it's a driver, an owner, a manager, whatever, it comes to you from those people, all right? It has to evolve through people to get to your business. So creating a raving customer is huge. Treat everyone like a millionaire. If he's a delivery driver, treat him like a millionaire. How many times have you seen a delivery driver or someone that was low in the company excel, become the manager, becomes a partner, whatever, but if you leave him with an average taste or not a good taste, you're not going to do business with him. The more hands you shake, the more money you make, right? So think about that. You need raving customers. The more raving customers you have, the more you'll triple, double, expand your business. You have to have raving customers. Do what they're not expecting. If somebody's waiting, bring them a water, buy them lunch, take them home, whatever they're needing, that's going to blow them away. For me, I really recognize it now when I go into businesses, and maybe it's a Chick-fil-A. They're not anything special. Maybe they go through 200 cars an hour, but they get raving customers. And you're bragging, you'll find yourself bragging about somebody, and it's because they impressed you. Now, if you're an average customer is an average customer, they're not going to rave about you, they're not going to bring you extra business. But think about this. Let's say that one guy, maybe he's a record driver, whatever, or maybe a delivery driver, and he brings you 10 customers, and those customers bring you an extra customer. So most of the customers that love me, I don't really care for too much, but they love me because I give them time and attention. And they don't get a lot of it, maybe because of their personality. But I treat everyone like a millionaire, because if you do that, one day he might be a millionaire. And that's what you want to be. That's where you want to be. So think about that. Referrals are huge. And Google reviews are referrals. How do you get a good Google review? How do you get a Google review? How do you approach those things? How do you ask for a review? So what we do is if a customer comes in, or let's say a customer's excited and he's like, man, you guys did a good job. Thank you so much. And he's appreciative. And you're like, man, that guy loves us. Now you could leave it there. He loves us and he's gone, okay? Or you could say, hey, you know, listen to me. This is the way to approach a review without feeling awkward or weird about asking for a review. If you don't ask, first off, you don't get, period, right? So think about this. You know, the guy is in there and he's all excited, or maybe he's just happy with what you did, and you say, hey, you know, what you could do for us is we would love to attract more customers just like you. And if you could leave us a review, that would allow us to bring in more customers just like you. And it makes that guy feel special. And then he leaves a good review. But that review just compounds. And you may get a bad review, bury it. Don't respond to it, bury it. Just keep burying it with good reviews. But you gotta ask. Those are referrals. So that's step one. Step two, attitude. Be intentional. When I say be intentional, that means that in your business, in your organization, and it could be 2 or 3 people, or it could be 10 people or 20 people, you have to be intentional. So maybe you're not the personality guy or the high influencer guy, but you have to be. You have to have a higher lid than anyone in your organization. You have to have a higher belief lid. Tell me this, how many times have you trained someone and they leave you? And you're like, man, I spent all that time in training that guy, and he just walked out and opened his own place down the road doing the same thing. It's your fault. You're the entrepreneur. But to be intentional, let's get real quick to being intentional. You can have a confidence costume. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but something that makes you feel good, okay? And it could be a shirt, it could be a tie, it could be shoes, it could be glasses. You could have $650 glasses that make you feel like a millionaire. I have a couple things. I have this bracelet that reminds me of a positive attitude. I always got to keep a positive attitude. I also have this watch. This watch is a Nixon watch because that's what my son's name is. It's Nixon. On the back of this watch, it says, you bring the energy. And that reminds me that anytime I walk into a place, anytime I walk into one of my stores, I have to bring the energy. I have to bring the excitement and the enthusiasm to lift them up. Even if I get that phone call on the way in that throws me off or throws me in a bad way, I have to bring the energy. I have to bring the positive attitude, because those things are going to lift my business and lift everyone else up, and we're going to perform better as a team, okay? But back to the belief lid, you have to have a higher belief lid. So back to that guy that you trained and he walked out, it's your fault. And the reason why it's your fault is because he had a higher belief lid than you. If you ever train someone and you do not have a higher belief lid than him, he's going to leave you. He's going to look outside and go, man, I can do this myself. And he's gone. Okay, this is number 3. Don't be key man dependent. If you know what that means, and many of you have suffered through this, is you get key man dependent because you have a rock star player, but maybe he doesn't show up on time, or maybe he's got a bad attitude, and you don't have options to replace him. And he's got power over you. So he wants the most money, he wants the most perks, the most benefits. You cannot be key man dependent. You find a replacement and you get rid of that guy. And then you can grow as an organization, because he will hold your organization down. If he's a covert hostile or someone that's, you know, causing problems or drama in the company, you have to get rid of that guy. You have to bring in more good players, because you'll get the same guy. You can get a guy. Don't tell me you can't. I always hear, I can't find good help. I can't. You know, a lot of that, we're going to get to that point next. A lot of that's your fault as well, because you're an entrepreneur, right? So being key man dependent is a really bad thing, and it happens a lot. It's happened to me many times. And before I realized, why does this guy have so much power over us? And then you get rid of him and everybody thanks you for getting rid of him. Okay? Because you realize that, wow, he was doing a lot that I didn't even know he was doing. So don't be key man dependent. This is step 4. Now listen to me. You have to implement these things. I don't care how small you are. This is what happens. 89% of entrepreneurs started out as the technician. Maybe you were a painter technician, maybe you were a mechanic, maybe you were a plumber, maybe you're an AC technician. So you start out as a technician and you're rocking with somebody, you open your own shop, and then you start to get overwhelmed with work, so you add someone, and then you add another player, and then you start adding, 4 or 5 people, and then you start spinning wheels because you're like sitting in motion and you can't keep employees. It's a revolving door and you're just spinning, and you're in the weeds, so you can't really work on growing the business because you're working in the business. So you can't look at sales and be focusing on things because you're working beside the guy, right? But this is what happens. And I don't want you to look down or minimize this. And it really made a big difference in my company. And I'll tell you why. Core values, mission, and vision. You have to have those things. So sit down and decide what your core values are going to be. And it sounds like it's hokey pokey, or you don't really think it's that important, but why do you think big organizations have it? Why do you think the military has it? Go to Starbucks, go to Publix. Any of those have core values, because core values aligns the type of people they want to attract. So we hire, fire, and reward on core values. So when you're in the hiring process, I want you to sit down and write down 3 to 5. You don't want a lot. These are core values. These are things that are unacceptable that you want in your organization. Maybe it's trust, maybe it's excellence, or accountable, or inspirational. So those things are your core values. So I want you to write down what's most important to me. Do I really need to have somebody that's accountable? So when you're doing your interviewing, you're going to relate to people with their core values. Maybe this guy's a downer. Maybe he's not positive. I mean, that's one of your core values, to being positive. And you can feel it. His tone scale's down. And you don't hire that guy. Okay? But then you also take those values and you measure your current team. Measure the people you have, and you say, okay, well, Dennis is not doing what he says he's going to do. He says he's going to work late, or he says he's going to work Saturday, and he doesn't do it, and he's not aligning with your value. So you talk to Dennis, and you try to fix Dennis. And if you can't fix Dennis, Dennis got to go, because everyone else in the organization is following those core values. And like I said, if it's 2 or 3 people, it doesn't matter, because that's even better, because now you're starting with a small group. And you're aligning and you're stacking people to the small group. But then you also reward on your core values. So if your core value is excellent, and this guy's excellent, and he's performing and he's following all your core values, there you go. You can promote the guy, or you can bonus the guy, set up incentive programs for the guy. So core values is really important. Mission is really important. Think about what's the mission of your business. You're an entrepreneur. You've got a lot of competition, so what's different? I mean, our mission is getting trucks back on the road faster than anyone else. That's our mission. So think about a mission that is really what makes you different. What is the mission of your business? And sometimes these are difficult to figure out, but you will figure them out, okay? Vision. If you don't have a vision, how do you expect people to follow you? Like, how do you expect employees that they're not at a dead-end job? And like I said, these are things that you don't really think about because you've always been the technician. And you're like, I work hard, he works hard, but I tell you what, if I'm working hard next to you and you got no vision for the company, and you've got no employee maturity model for me to grow and develop and to be something else or bigger, I'm gonna leave. And that's exactly where we're at with the guy that had a higher belief lid than you. So you need to set that belief lid. What are we capable of? How big can we get? What's our vision? Is our vision 10 locations or 60 locations or 3 locations or maybe 12 technicians or painters or whatever it is? Set that vision. If I were to call your business right now and talk to somebody on the phone and said, hey, I know Charlie, he's a great guy. What's the vision for the company? Like, where are you going? Like, what's going on with the company? Do you think your employee could tell me what that vision is? If they can't, you're not doing your job. You're not inspiring. You're not setting a vision, mission, core values. If you get those things down, you will have a lot less turnover and you'll get a lot more traction in where you're going. And then you'll have a plan. How can you hit a goal if you don't have a goal? If you don't have a goal for your company, even if it's small baby steps, man, come on, just like little things. So set those goals to get there, even if it's a goal for the year. Hey guys, we got a target revenue number this month. Let's hit it, let's get it. And then there you go with the wins and the momentum and building up, and you get better and better and better, right? So we lay that out. If you call my business, they'll tell you what our vision is. They'll tell you what our mission is, and they can tell you what our core values are. But those things are strong. Big organizations don't really push on it, and as they become a huge corporate organization, it kind of falls by the wayside, and sometimes they're like, customers are like, yeah, it's not like it used to be. So you gotta focus on those three things, and that one bullet point are very strong. And I wouldn't be telling you this if I was not certain about it. And I'm certain about it. I say these things with passion because I know how important they are, and I know how much they've changed our business. So think about that. Bullet point number 5, surround yourself with the best. And what I mean that is you may be the best technician, but you're not the best salesman. You're not the best in marketing. Maybe you are, maybe you're strong in marketing. What about people essentials? You think Elon Musk is the best in people essentials? You've seen him speak. He's got a huge imagination, and what he does is he recruits the best in that department, in that division, to scale it. You know, I'm not really good at a lot of things, but I'll hire the best I can find. I'm gonna hire the guy that's way better at it than I am. That's why we have great salesmen. We hire rock star salesmen because people excel at different things. And I can't be the best at everything. And you know, you may always say I can do it better myself, but maybe you can, but you can't do it better as a large organization by yourself. Or the bigger you get, you can't always do it by yourself. So get out of the weeds. Start laying these 5 steps down, and I promise you, you will double or close to double your business revenue. But lay these structural things down. Don't push it off, man. Focus on these things. And then we're going to talk about entrepreneurship next. Entrepreneurship is I have a lot of friends that are entrepreneurs. I know a lot of people that are entrepreneurs, and I see a lot of struggles with that, and a lot of it is people. A lot of it is recruiting. I can't find anybody. Nobody's working. Well, I have a shop full of them. I have 3 shops full of them. I have many employees that work their asses off, and they're all incentivized. They're all performance-based. We're a high-performance environment, man. We don't pay people for time. We pay people for results. The more results they give, the more they make. And that makes you really strong. So focus on these 5 things I give you. All right, let's go through those things backwards real quick. Surround yourself with the best. That's number 5. Surround yourself with the best. Don't be key man dependent. Take away that. Core values, mission, vision. Take those away. Attitude, be intentional. Whether you got to be intentionally positive, intentional on whatever you're doing, be very intentional. You have to be the leader. You have to, sometimes leaders eat last, but you have to be the guy that's setting the tone, setting the pace, bringing the energy, right? And the last one is referrals, which is raving customers are huge referrals. Treat everyone like a millionaire. If you put that in your mind of treating everyone like a millionaire, you'll feel like a millionaire. It feels so good to treat people really good. When you feel you're in a grunge, you're just in a mood, man, snap out of it. Change your body language. Listen to Tony Robbins. He can help you change your body language and change your attitude. And you can do it, but you got to focus on it. So focus on those 5 things as an entrepreneur. There's many more, I'm sure, that we're going to go over that I can help you with or that I'm certain about. If I'm not certain about it, I'm not going to talk about it. And then we'll do entrepreneurs next, because there's many, many ways that you can make a lot more money being an entrepreneur. And we'll go over that next time. So thank you guys. Have a great weekend. Talk to you later.